So let's go ahead and get into these rookie rankings. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that you don't really expect to be on this list. And I will say this is probably like in the beginning, a lot of people were suggesting that this was going to be one of the more weaker draft classes in the NBA. I thought they were being a little bit dramatic because we haven't yet seen a game played from them. But so far, those predictions are turning out to be true. And we'll start off with this list. So number one is not Joel Embiid. In fact, it's actually Zach Edey, right? And honestly, I completely agree with this, especially after his last game that he played with the against the Nets. He put up a stat line that has never been put up before, aside from since Hakeem Olajuwon. And his averages for the season so far, he's only played in 19 minutes per game. He's averaging 10 points, 6 rebounds, 0.4 assists, 0.4 steals, but he's also shooting 64% from the field and 50% from three. So by far, so far, it seems like he is the best rookie in this draft class. Again, so far, we're only a couple of games in. In fact, he's only played in 9 games, so this might be a little bit early, but these are the rankings and these are the stats. And I really have no problem with Zach Edey being ranked so high. Again, most of these players that I expected to be ranked on this list are not ranked, and that's because they just aren't living up to the hype as of right now. So there's really nothing else that needs to be said about that aside from the fact that they're just not living up to the hype. The next player on this list is Bub Carrington. Definitely not somebody that I was expecting to be ranked at number 2, but his play, and again, this is only a 6-game sample size, but so far his play has been rather solid. And I understand, he's on the Wizards, so it's not really much of, English. It might not have much of an impact for their season. Like, his performances aren't necessarily producing many wins, but still, compared to the rest of the rookies in this draft class, he's been playing rather solid. He's averaging 10 points, 43% from the field, 35% from three, 4 rebounds, along with almost 5 assists to go along with that. And those are solid numbers, especially when you compare them to the rest of the rookies in this in this list. And that's sort of, you have to sort of take every single ranking with a little bit of with a grain of salt, not only because it's still rather early in the season, but this draft class is incredibly weak, it seems like it. Now, I will say that we don't truly get to see exactly what these rookies are made of until, in my opinion, after All-Star break. I remember when Trae Young in his rookie season, he was solid, but he was also rather inefficient. But then once All-Star break came along, and then after the All-Star break, he drastically improved. And he was I thought that he was rather underrated as a rookie in the NBA. I mean, a lot of people were mainly talking about Luka Doncic and how good Luka is, but I really felt like Trae Young, he was still pretty solid and he was still producing way more than what I expected from a rookie in that draft class. But so I will say that they are a little bit early, but these are the rankings so far. Next on the list is Jalen Wells, excuse me. He's playing for the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns are they're a solid team right now. I mean, they're one of the few teams that has only one loss, I believe. I believe they've only got one loss so far in this season. Actually, no, they ended up getting 2. Excuse me. But again, their record is one of the best in the Western Conference. And on top of that, Jalen Wells recently against the Lakers, he dropped 20 points, ended the game 7 for 10 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, and ended up recording 1 assist, 3 rebounds, along with 1 steal to go along with that. And he played in 28 minutes. And 10 points he's averaging for the season, 41% from the field, 39% from 3 as well, and 3 rebounds along with 1 assist. So he's producing pretty solidly, especially on a team that I don't think really expected much production coming in from their rookies. And again, no one really expected him to be ranked at number 3. So this is rather impressive coming in from Jalen Wells. I will say that. And let me see. Let's go next on the list. Next on the list is going to be did I include? Oh no, I didn't. That's a little embarrassing. Oh god. I accidentally did not include Ryan Dunn, and I didn't include Jalen Wells. And crap, what is wrong with me? He's he actually plays for he actually plays for Memphis. That's a little bit of an embarrassing mistake right there. That's my bad. But again, his averages are incredibly solid, and that was very, very embarrassing. I don't know why. This is actually Ryan Dunn on this list. Good lord, I need a ugh. This is not good. But then again, this just shows just how bad this draft class really is, because no one is getting talked about nearly as much as they should. In fact, they only get talked about when they have a really solid game. I don't know why Jalen Wells wasn't. I don't know why I don't have Jalen Wells on this graphic, but that's besides the point. Again, that is very embarrassing. I'm sorry for that. Now, Ryan Dunn, who is up here right now, and the guy that you see, Diggs, by the way. Hey, what's up? Nothing much. I mean, I kind of made a really bad mistake, in these rankings, but it's whatever. Now we'll move along with it. Ryan Dunn, Phoenix Suns. He's not really getting that many minutes. I mean, the last game he only played 9, and the game before that he only played 10. So not a very big sample size that I can really go off of here. 6 points, 45% from the field, 39% from 3, along with 2 rebounds. And again, you got to take a lot of these with a grain of salt, because these games and most of these rookies, they aren't getting much minutes, and none of them are really playing all that well, especially the next rookie on this list, which is Alexander Czar. And I've said this before, Alexander Czar is, I think he should be talked about a little bit more for just, how bad of a pick this was. He has not been playing efficient at all. He's averaging 9 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, but he's also shooting 36% from the field and 20% from 3, which is awful. The one good game that he's had in recent memory was against the Miami Heat, where he had 17 points, 7 for 11 from the field. But again, he also recorded 4 blocks along with that. But this is the second overall pick in the draft. I really expected him to be a lot more solid, especially since he's getting way more minutes than a majority of the players that I just mentioned. In the last game against the Warriors, he only scored 10 points and went 3 for 10. In the game against the Hawks, he scored 11 points, 3 for 9. In the game at the Hawks, he scored 7 points, 3 for 11. And against the Cavs, he scored 12 points, 4 for 10. Against Boston, he scored 2 points, 1 for 7. He's still getting the blocks. So, he's averaging 2.8 blocks in the regular season so far, which is rather impressive. But again, if you're the number 2 pick in the draft, you're expected to produce on offense. And he has not been doing that at all. Same thing with this other rookie who was drafted above him, Zachary Rasacher. However, I will say that Zachary Rasacher finally had a good game yesterday against the Knicks in a win. And he scored 33 points, 11 for 18 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, along with 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 steals, along with 3 assists. And his averages for the season, 12 points, 37% from the field, 29% from 3, which is not good. 3.6 rebounds, excuse me. But aside from that one good 33-point game, the rest of the games have been rather mediocre. And again, I just don't really expect this kind of inefficiency coming in from a rookie. Coming in from the number 1 pick in the draft, excuse me. The points and the production, that makes sense. I don't really expect a rookie to produce all that much in their first season. But the efficiency and the lack of production as a number 1 pick, I feel like should be taken a little bit more seriously, considering how most people in the media and most people that follow the NBA, they're more focused on Bronny and his successes and just saying how bad of a player he is. Look at the player that's ranked number 1, that was picked number 1 in the draft. Bronny is getting more slack despite him being a second-round draft pick than the number 1 and the number 2 pick in the draft. I genuinely just don't agree with that whatsoever. It does not make sense to me. Now, excuse me. Next player on this list is the rookie from Toronto, Jonathan Mogbo. And he is, again, a player that nobody really expected to be able to produce all that much. He's not shooting the ball very well from 3. In fact, he's shooting 16% from 3. He's averaging 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 50% shooting from the field in the 9 games that he ended up playing. Now, on the road, he's not much better. In fact, he's actually worse when he's on the road. And he's on a really mediocre team, actually less than mediocre, the Toronto Raptors now, since, they don't have Scotty Barnes. But again, you have to take a lot of these with a grain of salt because not everybody in this draft class is all that competent, as sad as it is to say. And next player on this list is the one and only Connect 4, Dalton Connect. He is, he's a bit of a wild card, and I'm not expecting much production coming in from him in this rookie year, but I will say that his production is a little bit meh. Like, it's not great, but it's not awful, and it's just meh, really. He had one good game against the Cavs where he scored 18 points, and shot 6 for 12 from the field. But in the recent game against the Memphis Grizzlies, he ended up scoring only 3 points and shot 1 for 7 from 3. Again, still adjusting, and the difference between him and really the rest of the other players, in my opinion, is that while I do think he is a steal, he's also a shooter. And expecting a shooter to be able to understand the pressure and handle the pressure early in an NBA season is not ideal. Like, that is a very rare thing that happens in the NBA. And which is why I don't expect him to be something like just yet, assuming he develops really quickly. Again, we never know. But having him at number 8 is not that bad. Again, it's not like he was picked number 1 or number 2 in the NBA draft, which I would take a little bit more seriously, if that makes sense. But again, these performances, he's averaging 6 points, 42% from the field and 32% from 3, which again is not bad, but again, he's only playing in 17 minutes, so we'll see how that production goes on through the rest of the season. But at number 8, I don't really see much of a problem with his production. But because, shooters shoot. That's just what they do. Next player on this list is Jamal Shead. I have no idea how to pronounce that name, so forgive me if I completely messed that up. He's also playing for the Raptors. 6 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 40% from the field, and 27% from 3. So not really all that different from the Jonathan Mogbo in production and in efficiency. So I don't really have to say much about that because, again, it's more or less like the production and more or less the expectations to be the exact same. And finally, the last player on this rookie ranking list, Tristan da Silva. And he didn't really play in a majority of the games to start the season, but so far in the games where he has played, he's played in 5 of them. In the first game against the Cavs, he scored 17 points, went 6 for 8 from the field and 3 for 3 from 3. And he has not been able to repeat that efficiency, go figure. He was taken on, he played 2 30-minute games, but after those 2 30-minute games, against really competent teams, might I add, the Thunder and the Mavericks, they decided to put him back down to around 20 minutes, and he became a lot more efficient in the game where he played in only 20 minutes. But in his games that he's played, he's averaging 7 points, 43% from the field, and 42% from 3, which is rather efficient. Again, he gets a big boost because of that 3 for 3 game that he played against the Cavs, and since then, he's only been able to hit 1 3-pointer in a game, like in each of the games afterwards. But again, these are the best players so far, just given by the sample size that we have. And if you notice, there is no Reed Sheppard on this list. That's because Reed Sheppard is playing horrendously bad. Like, he is averaging, I want to say maybe 3 points per game, which is really, really not ideal for somebody who had so much hype, especially in the Summer League. Yeah, his numbers are bad. But again, he has not played in double-digit minutes yet, aside from 2 games, one of them against the Knicks and then the other one against the Spurs. But 3 points per game, 39% shooting from the field, and 35% shooting from 3. That's just not it. Obviously, that's not ideal. But again, he's only averaging 10 minutes, so we'll have to see if he ends up developing into the player that everybody sort of expects him to be. As of right now, not so much. And another player that is also not on this list, Donovan Clingan for the Blazers, but that's mainly because he's coming off of the bench. He's averaging 4.3 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks in 13 minutes per game in his first 8 games. He has started the season playing behind the Blazers starting center DeAndre Ayton and has shown really strong defense statistically, which is honestly the reason why they picked him. He's a very solid defender, and that's the big reason why they ended up picking him. So obviously, a lot of players that a lot of people expected to live up to the hype are still not on this list and are not living up to the hype yet, but the season is still young, so we will have to see what happens in the future. But that's all I've got for the rookie rankings so far. And, I completely forgot one more. I totally forgot to show you guys De Silva in his face. There you go. There's Tristan De Silva. Again, not very, how do I say this? Not very efficient, and that's really a common trend with the rest of these players in this draft. But again, the season is still young, and I don't really expect anybody to adjust that quickly, unless you're Luka Doncic. And again, this class, from what I know, does not have a Luka Doncic, but we'll see what happens in the future. So that's all that I have on the rookie rankings, and those are all my opinions on the players in the rookie standings. But aside from that, we're going to go ahead and go into the third segment where I talk about some hot takes that I saw from certain fans and I saw from certain users over the internet. We're going to talk a little bit about those hot takes right after this short break. So be sure to stay tuned if you guys are interested.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.